What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Modern Mortgage Show with Rocco, where I interview mortgage professionals who share their stories and valuable information about the industry. I'm your host, Rocco, and I'm thrilled to introduce my guest today. His name is Andrew Kairis, and he's a loan officer at Cranbrook Loans out of Clinton Township, Michigan. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being here, Rocco.
Of course, thank you for being here. So, Andrew, let's start out. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us a brief introduction of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the industry for a number of years now. I've only really been in the loan officer game for the last about 6 months or so. Before that, I spent my career at United Wholesale Mortgage as an account executive. Also did a lot of focusing on some other stuff there that would help in terms of efficiencies with the company, things that basically I could do in order to help the company achieve the growth that they've seen, of course, as everybody knows, pretty much the double up every year plan over at United Wholesale. So, I'm fortunate that when I made the transition over into becoming a loan officer, that the background that I have with closing loans in the actual lender realm really helps me achieve things that a lot of other mortgage brokers and loan officers might not necessarily be able to do, just because they don't necessarily see crazy scenarios all of the time. A lot of guys have issues calculating income and knowing, how to underwrite loans with Fannie and Freddie. So, that's something that really has helped me catapult my personal business and get it really just off the ground, because, I know how to package deals and get them sent up so that way we can close them quickly, of course. And also just the team atmosphere that UWM has helps me out tremendously when it comes to helping out other loan officers with Cranbrook. We're a growing company right now. We've got 8 full-time loan officers and looking to expand on that. And, I still spend a chunk of my day. My day starts at 5 a.m. and usually ends 6, 7 o'clock at night. And a chunk of my day is just spent helping these guys out with anything that they can do, especially utilizing the tools that all of the various lenders have available to help loan officers, showing my guys how to actually use those tools and showing them what they can do in order to grow their business. And likewise, same thing, if they've got scenarios that need just that extra set of eyes, or, having issues with what guidelines are, I spend probably an hour to 2 hours a day just seeing what's happening in terms of guidelines in Fannie and Freddie. So that way, on the fly, I can help people out and do what's best for our business.
Awesome. So you got your start in the back end kind of, and now you've made your jump to the front end. So you ended up in both scenarios.
Yep, absolutely. And like I said, I think it's extremely beneficial to have that background and make that transition into this realm.
Definitely. So you've only been on the loan officer side for about 6 months now, you said?
Yeah.
How long have you been in the industry as a whole?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Before that, my background was finance in general. Mm-hmm. And actually 2 of my very, very good friends were UWM people, and they were on me for almost 3 years to join UWM, and, I had a great job doing exactly what I was good at. At least I thought I was really good at it, but they were on me to make the move. And finally, one day I just said, screw it. And I did it. Mm-hmm. And, I kicked myself in the butt because I should have done it 3 years prior, because I found an absolute love for the mortgage industry. It's just the best place to be in my eyes. And really, I kind of kicked myself for not doing it, but everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm. So you got your start from your friends who influenced you?
Yes, exactly. One of my friends, very good friends, is a vice president over at UWM. And then another very good friend of mine is one of the top account executives at UWM. And the 2 of them, like I said, they were on me saying, you need to come into the mortgage industry. Working for UWM is great. There's all these perks, all this everything. Life is going to be grandiose if you do this. And I was comfortable where I was. And, my previous role, I was working 80 hours a week for somebody else. And it just, the money was great, but there's no work-life balance, and just, there wasn't that happiness level. And moving into the mortgage industry, I probably work just as many hours, but I enjoy every hour. There's not a moment that I don't like what I do every single day.
Absolutely.
There's just an absolute thrill when you get to actually help out a consumer the way that we can, helping them save money, or if they need cash out to be able to do that addition on their house or buy a boat, whatever the heck they want to do. I mean, it's just those little tiny things like that make the transaction really super worthwhile. And I think that's what I enjoy most about being on the side of the business. And likewise, I love building businesses. So being able to work with Cranbrook and help take this business to the next level. We're licensed in 6 states right now, and there's a long-term goal to add many more states with loan officers. And I mean, we're gonna do it.
So, so you said that you wish you started it 3 years prior, or you wish
Yeah,
you could jump. What did you do any type of work before you got into the mortgage industry? What was your job?
my job. I worked in finance for a bunch of car dealers.
Okay.
So my background was always in finance. Um, I've always been very in tune with investment markets and things like that. But again, working in the car business, granted, I'm from Detroit, working in the car business is just a thing. I mean, it's the motor vehicle mecca of the United States. And now obviously it's also become the little mortgage mecca, considering United Wholesale's there, Quicken is there, Home Point's just outside of Detroit and Ann Arbor. So you've got, and Flagstar. So you've got 4 major lenders and 4 major players in the game that are all probably within a 45-minute drive of each other, any which way. So it definitely made sense to make the move at that time. And I definitely feel that this is just such an absolutely fantastic industry.
Absolutely. So you kind of touched on this. Helping people save money is something you really enjoy if they want to buy a boat or whatever with that money. What would you say, kind of expanding more on that, is the most satisfying or rewarding thing about transitioning to the front end, and what makes it all worth it for you?
At the end of the day, for me, is I really enjoy working with people because everybody has their own story. So when it comes to actually helping out that consumer purchase their home, especially the first-time home buyers, we're finally starting to get more programs, especially in terms of down payment assistance and community seconds and things like that. So when you've got somebody who's in their early 20s who, nowadays, a lot of the younger generation, the millennials, aren't dreaming of home ownership. They don't think it's possible because they're still very uneducated about the home buying process. And their parents are still old school with, you have to have 20% down in order to purchase a property. You have to have all of these things in line. And to be able to come to them and say, no, there's 3% down programs. There are community seconds and down payment assistance programs in order to get you into a home. Being able to help somebody that's super young and has, again, no real knowledge of this industry, and be able to show them that, yes, we can get you into a home. And then not only that, but being able to get them into it, close on that transaction. Home ownership is a fantastic thing. It gives them the opportunity now to gain equity in their home. It's a major investment, not only in themselves, but in their lives, to actually own a home. Compare the money that they're shelling away on a rental property,
Definitely.
where they're not gaining any equity, they're not having anything. Now they have a tangible asset, and it's their own. So I think that's probably the single most rewarding thing right there, is just, it's that first time home buyer transaction and getting somebody actually into a home.
Definitely. Definitely. Like you were mentioning earlier, you worked 80 hours a week for someone else, and now you're working for yourself, where you work just as much. It's kind of the same thing, like paying rent or building equity. Kind of directly relates to that. There's a bunch of amazing loan products on the market that people aren't really aware of. They think you need the best credit or the most down payment, when, like you mentioned, there's 3.5% down, there's 0 down, 10% down. There's a bunch of different options for people.
Yep. No, and that's the thing. There's a product for everybody. And, one of the other things that I also enjoy doing is stuff like this, where I can facilitate other loan officers and get them the knowledge on programs and products available. There's a lot of great, in terms of non-QM lenders, there's a lot of great non-QM products that can also help out these borrowers in these various states. And a lot of loan officers are unaware. So that's another thing that's just very satisfying to me, is helping loan officers also grow their businesses and show them that there's opportunity to work with these potential clients that they didn't think that they could work with before. Everybody has a story, and everybody has a particular situation that they might need. There's people that want to take cash out to 95% because they've got something going on. They need it. I can tell you that I know on probably one hand the number of loan officers that could still satisfy that deal. And if somebody's in need of a particular situation, being extremely well-versed, I think, is just number one. You have to know what products are out there, what's available, and then you can truly help out consumers in the best way possible.
Absolutely. I was talking with EJ yesterday from New York in an interview, and like we were saying, there's no cookie cutter, one size fits all loan product on the market. Whatever, based on your situation, there's likely something for you that fits that need.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's extremely beneficial that, loan officers spend those few extra minutes. I know the market's in turmoil right now and things are just going absolutely crazy, but this is the time to spend those few extra minutes and invest in yourself too. So that way, how to best help out clients, because every client is calling in. We're getting phone calls all day long. Rates are at 0% right now. And, it's just, obviously we all know it's kind of the biggest farce, but being able to educate clients the right way and make them want to do that transaction with you and explain to them that, yes, we can still save you money. The savings on even just a half a point right now in interest over 30 years on a $300,000 loan, the interest savings is huge, and people don't realize that. So, it's about coaching the client the right way and coaching yourself to know how to work with the clients. I think it's extremely beneficial, and loan officers need to take that time.
100% agree with that. So let's shift gears here for a second. So you transitioned to the loan officer side about 6 months ago. So what was your biggest struggle or any obstacles you faced earlier on adjusting to the new side of the mortgage space?
Truthfully, it was probably the crazy questions on the SAFE exam. Honestly, that was my biggest hurdle. At UWM, when it comes to training, I will say the training there is absolutely fantastic. And not just the initial, but the ongoing. Every time something happens in the market, we know it, we learn it, and we become the expert with it. And coming to the market, I'm fortunate. I have a huge social network, both in Michigan and down here in Florida. Mm-hmm. So I'm lucky enough that through my social network, I'm able to market extremely well and bring in a fair amount of deals because of my networking. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, probably my first week license, I brought in 5 deals like that. Like I was very, very fortunate. Now, granted, I also have a slightly different philosophy on how to structure deals that some loan officers still don't do. I go borrower paid, and I do like 1% origination just to help out the consumer more than anything. And then it also prevents the EPO policies and things like that from setting in because I'm offering the consumer just a stellar rate. But besides that, yeah, the biggest thing was totally just the quirky questions that they put on the SAFE exam, the ones that, you have 2 answers that are actually right, and they're asking for this. But fortunately, I passed on the first time around just because, again, we had the best training around. And again, I spend a lot of time trying to make sure that I'm really well versed on what's going on I don't want to be that loan officer that obviously does anything unintentionally illegal or messes up. So that was huge. After that, learning how to use a loan origination system, that was also a hurdle. It's just technology and it's just a barrier to entry. Learn how to use it and you're good to go. I know how to structure it, but where all the buttons are at, I was lucky. Without a doubt.
So you mentioned your social network, you mentioned technology. Obviously, in recent years, technology, social media, all that has really made its way into the mortgage space. How would you say this affected you in your business?
I mean, truthfully, in terms of technology, it's been without a doubt huge. I take full advantage of Brand 360 that UWM has just to help me with my marketing first and foremost. That's the biggest thing. And then from there, I always take my own posts and share them on my personal Facebook, which is helping get all of the likes transitioned into that. But then I'm focusing on right now getting a full blog going, getting quality information out to all of the consumers and all of the people that are in my social network, because I think that that's going to be astronomical in terms of my personal business growth. The one thing that most of my clients have mentioned to me is that during the transaction, I spend a lot of time making sure they understand every piece of it to the point where they should be able to originate a loan by the time this transaction is over, because they fully understood every single step of the process. And by making sure that the consumer is empowered with knowledge, it's going to not only make them want to do additional transactions down the road with you, but that's getting additional referrals for me as well. So by creating that quality transaction and then also bragging about it on Facebook, with here's your 7-day clear to close, here's the 11-day clear to close, and, making sure that the consumer is okay with them being tagged in that post when we close on their loans, it's actually helping really grow it. And then that also allows me to tap into their social network each time. And, then people start asking questions. Holy crap, I've never seen a mortgage transaction close in under 30 days and you did it in 10. That's crazy.
Like you were saying, definitely educating them along the way and making a true impact on them so you get those referrals. Maintaining relationships with past clients is huge. Many people just will let the client go and then not check in with them, follow up, but that's where you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you do let that go.
It's absolutely huge. And truthfully, that's one of the major drivers behind using Brand 360 that UWM offers, and also using things like BombBomb for doing short videos with clients, and using CRMs in order to track when you close loans. Make sure you're tracking rates in case there's an opportunity to save that client money down the road. There's a lot of great technology tools, and I mean, even personally, I feel like I'm still exploring just the top layer. I know there's so much more that's out there, but being able to create just that perfect ecosystem of technology where you're constantly staying in front of every single one of your past borrowers. There's no reason why after you do that first transaction that you should not be able to get at least one referral out of that client, and they should leave that transaction knowing that if they ever go to purchase another home or if they need to do a refinance transaction, there's no reason that they should have left that not wanting to come back and do it again with me.
For sure. So you talked about maybe starting a blog post, right? And using social media. Are there any other modern strategies or anything you're taking advantage of that's helping you to maybe maintain better relationships with past clients, or helping you to pull in some more leads, or systemize or organize your business in any way?
So, I obviously, in terms of organizational tools, I've got a couple of different CRMs that I'm piloting right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely going to be a little bit of a transition with that. And the other thing too is there's a couple of them out there that I can actually use to help with pipeline management. We have in-house processing with Cranbrook. So being able to utilize that ecosystem again, where at any point during the transaction, whatever is happening in processing, I can see what's going on over there, all the way through the post-closing, where it's going to help us with the marketing and, again, maintaining all of the client information that we can see in front of them. I think if we do this interview again, say in 3 months, that I'll probably have a much better answer after I have a full opportunity to really play around with some of the various softwares out there. And there's new stuff that's coming out almost daily. The broker channel is growing so much that it's giving a lot of technology companies now an opportunity to create software or transition the software that maybe some of the banks have used over to our market. We're hoping by the end of this year that we're going to see broker channel at 25 to 30%, and I believe that it 100% can be done. Brokers are the best place for a client to get a mortgage from.
Yep, absolutely. So where do you see all this going in the future?
So, long term, I'm fully on with the fact that broker channel is going to grow over the next probably 5 years. And,
absolutely.
If you look back pre-2008, where most mortgages were done by mortgage brokers, you were not going to a bank to get a mortgage anymore because it was always the best place. Same thing with your car insurance. You don't necessarily want to just walk into a State Farm office. I want to go to the guy that has 15 different carriers and can shop the best option for me as a consumer, because I have my own unique driving record, vehicles, all that combination. So I want to go find the best place. It's the exact same situation here. I've got 20 different lenders that at any point I can send a loan to, because each lender has their own unique niche and their own unique bucket, and on a given day, maybe their own unique pricing. So finding that combination is going to be huge. But again, I think as all of the wholesale channel grows, we're going to be able to continue to bring more mortgage brokers over from the big banks, because those brokers are looking for options for their clients. Right now, at least personally, I've got banks that are local to me that have to send me their turndowns. And I look at that loan officer and say, why don't you just come over to this side? Then you can do these loans too.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Why don't you just come to this side? And a lot of people are getting smart and doing it.
Definitely more options, obviously, equals better deals.
Exactly. So I definitely see the broker channel continue to grow, and especially if you're a part of the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, you see what Anthony Casa is doing for the whole mortgage community. I think people really need to take the time to pay attention to what he's doing, and he spends a lot of time every single morning, brings on people just like this and is doing interviews, so that way mortgage brokers can learn and get more well-versed. And you can't get that training anywhere else either.
Yeah, on your Facebook, you were watching that this morning, right?
Yep, absolutely. Every single morning, got CNBC up, and whatever Anthony Casa's interviews are going on, I've always got that on one monitor, just so that way, again, I can see what's going on. Again, it's beneficial. There's no piece of bad information that's going to come my way at any point in time. That's how I look at it. I can choose to listen to it or not, but anybody's input,
absorb as much information,
I can get better, beneficial.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and sharing some knowledge. I had a great time talking with you. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Rocco, for bringing me on, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Absolutely. And thank you to all the viewers for watching, and we will see you next episode.